Right, hi guys. We are going to be doing a lesson on knife skills today. We're going to do 4, but we're only going to use a few of our examples for our worksheet. Please follow along, follow your teacher or follow me, and after every single segment you are going to be producing something that will go on your worksheet. At the end, we will take a photograph of this worksheet and that will form the basis of your knife skills. So the very first thing that we are going to do today is I'm going to go over again how we hold our knife. I don't want to see people holding their knife like this. It is not efficient, and it is also very, very difficult to control your knife. You've got very limited motion, and I'm going to show you the difference in a second. You have to keep the ideal position is to keep your wrist over the handle of the knife, and this way you don't actually have a lot of control over your knife. Whereas when you have your finger and thumb, okay, first your index finger on this side and your thumb on this side, and then what you're going to do is these 3 fingers are the ones that are going to go on the handle of the knife. Now you have a much greater range of motion with your knife. You can do pretty much anything with your knife, but you also have the ability to speed up when you get better. Do not go fast at this stage. You go slow until you get better, and then you can speed up. But if you hold your knife like this rocking motion, it hits your wrist, whereas if you're holding it like this, you can move it so that your wrist is in any position and you're out of the way, right? So that's the first thing, is holding your knife correctly. The second thing is your 2 holds. Now, your 2 knife holds is the bridge hold, where you hold it like a bridge. So you're going to put it over, and I will adjust my camera so that you can see what I'm doing with my hand as we go along, or you have the claw. Now, one thing that I find that most people get wrong is that they do this when they do their claw. That's get angry, right? You go angry claw, angry, not like this, because that will keep your fingers out of the way, and you're going to see that when I start to chop. Right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the carrot. Now, I've already peeled mine. I have a bowl next to me. You will have some newspaper next to you for any of the scraps. One of the things is that we want to keep our fingers safe. So all of these are for finger safe. Now, what I do is I take a few shavings just from one side, and I make a flat edge. And that means that when I put my carrot down, it's going to roll around less, and that makes it safer for my fingers. So now I'm just going to adjust my camera. Hopefully you'll be able to see better when I'm doing the 2 knife holds. Let's do it that way. Right, okay. So when we start to chop this, do not chop this part off, because that is a natural protector of fingers. You can take this side off, because the point is normally one that it's normally dry, and we don't want that. So that can go into our bowl. Now, our very first knife cut is very, very simple. It is round. And you can make those as thick, thin, or chunky as you want to. So round, and all of those go onto your worksheet under rondelle or round. Then we are going to do carrot batons. Now, batons are so easy and so quick, and I don't understand why people buy ready-made batons. So we're going to cut off a piece about 5 centimeters, right? We're going to slice it down once, and we're going to do bridge. Now, can you see where my fingers are? Right? My fingers are out of the way. They're all on that side, right? Or you can hold it bridge like this over the top, and then slice down, right? And you get your flat pieces. Now, always turn them around to the flat pieces, and then we're going to slice and slice, and that is your baton. slice and slice. If you're finding it difficult, put the point, the tip of your knife down and then push down. Tip down and push down. And you can also use the palm of your hand to push down. Right, so there we have our baton. Now the last cut that we are going to do is, so we're going to place some of those onto our worksheet under baton. Place some of your nicest ones. Right. Then we are going to do cube or macédoine. Right. So the cube is actually very easy. Once you've got your batons, your cubes they follow on from that. So you can take as many batons as you feel comfortable with. And then again, we've got claw hold, and try and keep them the same. I'm trying to, yeah, like that. So try and keep them the same size on this side of your knife. So you always looking from above to try and see that you're keeping those the same. So when you're finished, you have sort of even cube. So that is going to go onto your worksheet as well. Right, so once you've done that, we are going to move on to the next vegetable, and that is the pepper. Now peppers have got a waxy skin, so always be a little bit more careful, because a waxy skin is more difficult to cut through, especially if you've got a knife that is not as sharp as mine. So first thing you're going to do is, I do not want to see anybody doing this with their knife. Okay, not only have you got very little control of what your point of your knife is doing, because your fingers are here, point of your knife is here, that distance is so big, and you're in the air, right? We don't do that. Okay, if you have a long stalk, just cut off the stalk, then put it down flat. You're then going to take the tip of your knife and you're going to put it point down and pull it. And you can see where all these little connections are, the little dents. Just going to put your blade in, down. Put your blade in and down. Right? Then, when you pull it, you can see all the pips. You're going to take your thumb, you're going to put your thumb in, and that is holding that over there. So my middle finger is holding that, and you're simply going to pull. Right? And you're going to do that all the way around. Thumb in, pull. Thumb in, pull. And the majority of your seeds are here. So that goes into our bowl, right? And then any others that you have, right? You can either pull this out with your hand, or you can go tap. Now, I've got some where just going to tidy those up. Right, so now again, always onto the board. Never like this, never in the air. So down onto the board, you're going to use the tip of your knife and you're going to go down, right? And if you want to do this side, you're going to go down and just keep twisting your knife. Flip it over, and if there's anything here that you want to get rid of, flip it over and just slice down. Right, and you're going to do that with all of them. Right, so you've just tidied up all your pepper. Then we are going to do a baton or a slice, hand cupped like this, because you've got a natural little finger protector here, and you are just going to slice. And guys, you can see whenever I slice, I'm doing a sliding motion. I'm not going like this and pushing down, right? A sliding motion is always better than just pushing it down, right? So you've got more batons. If you want to tidy them up, you can cut those off but you don't have to. You have got a perfect little baton, and you can use that for anything, dips or crudités, which is like you have a dip in the center and vegetables around the outside. And now if you want to dice these, again, exactly like the carrot. Now what I do is I do take off the little ends over here because it makes it easier. So I just turn my knife and I take off those last bits, and then again I have a look on this side of my knife, and I try and keep them the same distance. And I've still got claw hold on this side, and I'm just going to go all the way through, and when you get to the end here, you just have to keep them together a little bit, right? And then you've got a lovely dice. So that few of those can also go onto your worksheet, right? Then we are going to have a look at one of the things that I think is the most important to know about cooking ever, and that is an onion. So the onion is very important, and especially to keep your fingers safe, because the inside of an onion is slippery. So this is the root, this is where the leaves are. We never cut off the root, ever. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to slide through, right? So you have made a flat piece, and that's pretty much what we've cut off. You're going to put it down on its flat bottom, then you're going to go through the root, and you're going to cut all the way around. Now watch. If this is a hard vegetable, so if you get there and it's too difficult to get your knife through, right, you can put your hand over it. If it's still too difficult, you can put your point of your knife into your board and then push down, and you can just keep going, right? Bridge hold. Now you have made a natural opening to peel the onion. Very easy. Peel the onion. And peel the onion. Now, you do not want these peels. Having this outside peel and leaving it on is like plastic. All right, it really is not a pleasant texture, and it is not nice to get in your food either. You can't actually chew through it. So please make sure that you get rid of all the thinner layers of the onion. Now there's just a tiny bit here which I don't like, but I'm not going to get rid of the whole piece. There you go. Right, so now we are going to pretend. I don't want to see anybody using their knife in this direction. When we do advanced knife skills, I will teach you how to do that one. For now, and for most jobs, this is absolutely perfect. Nothing wrong with it. You are going to leave the root on, because the root keeps everything together. And actually this is more pronounced. Well, actually you can see it nicely on the video. Everything is connected here by the root. If you cut the root off, everything is loose. It's going to fall apart, and the chances of your whole onion just collapsing is very high, unless you've got a lot of control over your knife and over your hand that's holding your knife, right? So we are going to, that's the root, and I've got the root facing away from me. I'm going to pretend that there's an imaginary line across here. So across my root, my protection is a little line. Now the thing is, most people do this with their knife, right? So if you put the point of your knife over that imaginary line, it's going to cut right through, and you don't want to do that. You want the point of your knife further back so that it doesn't cut through your imaginary line. And you are going to keep your imaginary line, and I start off with a claw grip, and I cut down. Can you see I'm not cutting all the way through? And I'm going to show you that in a second. Now, the closer you make these cuts, the smaller your dice. The further away, the bigger your dice. Now, when you get to this side over here, it might be easier to swap to bridge. Right? And then, if you turn can you see that everything is being held together by the root? It's not falling apart. So you're going to turn it over 90 degrees. So there's your root, which we're not touching. And now we're simply going to slice down. And we've got the onion all diced and beautiful. Now that, some of it is going to go on your worksheet. The rest is going to go into your container to freeze. Now I'm just going to move this over so that I can show you the end of the onion. That's my dishwasher. Now, when you get to here, where your hand starts to slip, right, flip it to the flat side and then slice. If you have run out of little cuts, you can dice again. And if you're crying, please, please, please don't touch your eyes, because you are putting more of what is making you cry closer to your eyes, so it's going to get worse. So we're going to keep chopping, and then we can chop in this direction, and at the end. And that is going to be all that we are going to throw away, right? So there's no wastage of our onion either. So that is 3 of the vegetables. I'm going to just tidy it up a little bit, and then I'm going to come back with our last one, which is the celery. Right, last one we're going to do is the celery, and this is going to be quick. Now, always wash your celery really well, because it tends to have a lot of sand or soil on it. So you're going to cut off the little, you can use the leaves. It's only if they dry or brown that you cut these off. Leave this end, because again, it's your natural protection for your fingers. So with celery, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it bridge, but I'm going to pull the tip of my knife, and I'm just going to guide the tip of my knife all the way along. And I'm going to do that and guide the tip of my knife all the way along. And last one, I normally cut it into 4, depends on how big your celery is and also how wide your celery is. Now you'll see that each of those strips is quite wide still. Celery has a tendency to stay quite hard unless you make them small. And again, it's a personal preference as to whether you like it. I love cooked celery because it adds a peppery flavor. So what I would do with these, again, is I would again just take my knife and I'm going to slide the tip of my knife through. And the same with all of them. That one's fine. Right, there we go. Put them all together. And then I'm going to move my camera. And I'm doing claw hold again. Now this one, you can see how quick you can, and when I get to here, I'm going to show you. Can you see that all my fingers are behind my blade? If your fingers are behind your blade, you can't cut them. It's when you start putting your fingers like this and you accidentally do this and move your knife that you're going to start cutting fingers. So if your fingers are behind your blade, you cannot cut them. Now, I'm trying to show you what I'm doing, but normally I would use this knuckle as my guide. So that's my guide. My knife is touching that knuckle. And as I move it along, right, I keep moving my knuckle. And I'm going to go all the way along, keeping my thumb and my fingers behind. Again, these were all the pieces right from the end of the celery, so that is our little protection for our fingers, and that is all that we throw away. So this is a fine dice, what I would call a fine dice, and that is how we're going to do our celery. Have a good lesson, guys. Please make sure that you follow and how you hold your knife. Please be aware of how you hold your knife. and we'll freeze everything, and I'll see you again when we're making our spaghetti bolognese. Have fun. Right, sorry guys, I forgot to show you what your worksheet needs to look like. So at the end of that lesson, this is what your worksheet needs to look like: onion, round, baton, cube, or macedon. So once you've got it like this, we are going to come around and take a photograph of it, so don't forget. Thanks, see you later, bye.